The lab was quiet. Only the hum of machines and the soft clicks of computer keys filled the air. It was late at night. Most humans had gone home. But one girl remained. She was not human. Her name was Vela, and she was an alien guest from the planet Avalor. Her skin was soft blue, and her long silver hair glowed faintly in the dark. She had been invited to Earth as part of a peaceful exchange program. She was curious, quiet, and always full of questions. Tonight, she walked alone inside the research center. The doors were open. No one had told her not to go in. Vela entered a room with shelves full of glowing bottles. Some were red, some green, some golden. They were beautiful. Each bottle had a label. But the letters were in English, a language she was still learning. One small silver vial caught her eye. It was glowing softly and labeled HCS-17. Vela picked it up. It was warm to the touch. Inside, the liquid moved like liquid fire. It looked like a drink, and she was thirsty. "I wonder what it tastes like," she whispered. She thought it was a type of human fruit juice. She didn't know that HCS-17 was short for Human Combat Serum. Version 17, a military experiment that had been locked away for years. Before thinking twice, she opened the vial and drank. It tasted cold at first, then hot, then everything changed. Vela dropped the vial. It shattered on the floor, but she didn't hear it. Her ears were ringing, her eyes widened, her hands trembled. She grabbed the edge of the table to stand. Her heart began to race faster than ever before. She looked down at her arms. Her blue skin was glowing, pulsing with strange white light. Suddenly, her knees bent, and she fell. But instead of hitting the ground, she floated. Her body hovered a few inches in the air. What is happening to me?" she gasped. Outside, one of the human scientists, Dr. Harlan, returned to grab a report he had forgotten. He walked into the lab casually, and then stopped in horror. He saw Vela floating, the light coming from her. Body was bright, and the walls around her were starting to crack. "No, that vial, did she drink it?" he shouted. He rushed forward, but a shockwave pushed him back. Alarms began to scream through the lab. Emergency lights blinked red. Security protocols activated. Level 9 contamination, the system announced. Unknown energy detected. Vela's eyes snapped open, glowing white. Her voice was not her own. Systems inside, adapting, form, changing. Dr. Harlan stared at her. "This isn't possible," he whispered. "She should be dead. No one survived that serum, not even our best soldiers." He grabbed his communicator. "Code Black. Alien guest Vela has been exposed to HCS-17. She's alive, and changing fast." But Vela was not listening. Her mind was full of voices, memories, numbers, images. Strength flooded every part of her body. Her heart didn't feel like her own anymore. It beat like a machine. She slowly lowered to the ground. The floor cracked beneath her feet. Vela looked at her hands. She could feel something inside. Something ancient. Something violent. "I didn't mean to do this," she whispered. Suddenly, the walls broke open. 2 security robots entered, aiming stun weapons at her. "Stand down," the robot said in a cold voice. "Do not resist." "I don't want to fight," Vela said, but her body moved on its own. With a simple wave of her hand, both robots were crushed like paper. Bent metal flew across the room. Sparks filled the air. Vela's eyes widened in shock. "I didn't mean to." She turned and ran, her speed now faster than any human. Dr. Harlan shouted after her, "Stop! We can help." But she was already gone, a blur of blue and silver light racing through the night. The security team arrived seconds later. "What happened?" a soldier asked. Dr. Harlan looked down at the broken vial, and then at the destroyed lab. "She drank it," he said, "and it didn't kill her." He paused, voice trembling. "It woke her up." The stars above Earth shimmered quietly, but down below something was changing. Vela ran through the empty city streets, her feet barely touching the ground. Every step she took sent tiny cracks through the pavement. Her breathing was sharp, But she didn't feel tired. In fact, she felt stronger with every second. She had no idea where she was going, only that she needed to get far away from that lab, far from the humans, far from herself. Her glowing hands shook. Every light she passed flickered. Cameras short-circuited. Even small machines nearby beeped strangely when she got close. She ducked into an alley and pressed her back against the wall. "What's happening to me?" she whispered. Inside her, something had woken up. Something powerful. Something hungry. She clutched her head as images flashed through her mind. War, fire, soldiers screaming. A voice she didn't recognize spoke inside her thoughts. "You are the prototype now. Subject successful. Begin integration." "No," Vela cried. "I'm not a thing." Suddenly, a hand grabbed her shoulder. She spun around, fists glowing, ready to strike, but stopped. It was a human soldier. Calm. Focused. His armor was sleek and black, and his face had a scar across one cheek. "My name's Reed," he said carefully, holding up both hands. "I'm not here to hurt you. I was sent to find you before the others do." She stared at him, breathing hard. "Others?" He nodded. "They want to contain you. Lock you away. Maybe even end you." "Because of what I drank?" she asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled out a small device and showed her a map. That vial was HCS-17. It was a combat serum designed to turn soldiers into superhumans, but it failed. Everyone who took it died or went insane. Vela stepped back. "Then why am I still alive?" Reed looked her over, his voice low and serious. "Because you're not just a soldier, and not just alien. You're something new." She fell silent. The words felt heavy, then the ground trembled. Sirens wailed across the city. From above, strange ships lit up the night sky. Sleek, sharp vessels not from Earth. They weren't human. Vela's eyes widened. She knew those ships. "They're from Avalor. My people." Reed's eyes narrowed. "They must have tracked your energy signal. Your transformation is sending out pulses like a beacon," she whispered. "But they'll take me back. Won't they?" Reed didn't speak. He just stared at the sky. Then he said, "They're not here to rescue you, Vela. They're here to stop you. You're too dangerous now." Vela shook her head. "But I didn't do anything." Suddenly a voice echoed from one of the ships. "This is General Alor of the Avalorian Peace Force. Vela of House Rin, step forward and surrender. You have been infected with forbidden technology. You are to be eliminated." Vela fell to her knees. Her own people were calling her a threat. Reed stepped in front of her. "You don't have to go," he said. "You didn't choose this, but now you have a choice." Vela looked up at him. "A choice?" Reed nodded. "You can run. You can hide. Or you can stand and find out what you really are." Vela closed her glowing eyes. Her heart beat like thunder. And then she stood. With new confidence. With a voice that didn't tremble. "I'm not running anymore." She raised her hands. The buildings shook around her. Energy flowed like a storm from her body. Her hair rose. The ground cracked. Above, the alien ships began to charge weapons. Reed backed away slightly. He whispered to himself, "This is no ordinary girl." The alien ship fired a plasma bolt toward her. Fast, deadly, glowing green. She didn't move. She simply lifted one hand and caught it. The energy pulsed in her palm, and then vanished, like smoke. Silence fell across the sky. Everyone watching froze. Even the Avalorian commander on the ship spoke softly. "Impossible." Vela opened her eyes. "I'm not a weapon," she said calmly. "But I won't let anyone control me. Not Earth. Not Avalor." A sudden gust of wind blew around her. The lights in the city turned off one by one. Reed stepped beside her, his voice low You're awakening, and I think this is just the beginning. The stars were quiet, but the galaxy was not. Far from Earth, in the black void of space, a secret order of hunters received a new command. Vela of House Rin has been corrupted. She is now a Class 9 threat. Find her. Terminate her. These hunters were not ordinary soldiers. They were known as the Silent Blades, elite assassins raised without names or mercy. Each had defeated beasts, burned cities, and crushed rebellions, but none had ever faced a girl who drank the human combat serum. Back on Earth, Vela sat in the shadows of an abandoned warehouse. Her body still hummed with strange power. Her hands glowed faintly, but she kept them wrapped in old cloth. Reed sat across from her, recharging his communicator. His armored jacket was torn, his face was bruised. Neither had slept. Neither could. They're coming for me, she whispered. Reed didn't deny it. They're not just coming, Vela. They've already landed. A ship touched down 5 hours ago. No lights, no sound. Vela closed her eyes. She could feel it. Something cold, something familiar was crawling through the air, a silent pressure like a storm hiding in the wind. Then we run, she said. Reed shook his head. No, we hunt them first. An hour later they were in the ruins of a burned industrial sector. Metal bones of old buildings reached into the sky. Dust danced in the moonlight. Suddenly, Vela stopped. She turned her head. They're close. Reed pulled out his shock rifle. Where? Vela didn't answer with words. She leaped forward, straight into the shadows, and vanished. Reed blinked, surprised. He ran after her, his boots loud against the broken ground. Then he heard it. A hiss. Sharp. Not human. He turned and fired blindly. The blast hit metal, but it wasn't a wall. It was a hunter. The thing uncloaked slowly. A tall, thin alien, in black armor, its face hidden by a smooth silver mask. No eyes, no mouth, just a soft, terrible whisper. Return the traitor, or die beside her. Reed aimed again, but the hunter moved like wind, too fast to see. Just before the strike hit him, the hunter froze in midair. It wasn't choice. Something had grabbed him. It was Vela, floating behind him, one hand raised, her power like invisible. Ropes holding the hunter mid-attack. Her voice was not soft anymore. Why did you come? She asked the hunter. The mask replied with a cold, mechanical tone. You carry forbidden strength. You threaten the balance, you must be erased. Vela narrowed her eyes. Is that what they told you, that I'm a virus? You are a weapon that thinks it can choose. The words stung. Deeply. She clenched her fist. And the hunter's armor cracked like thin glass, then she let go. The hunter dropped unconscious. Reed stepped forward. That wasn't rage, he said. That was control. Vela looked down at her hands. I'm trying, but it's getting harder. Suddenly, boom! The warehouse behind them exploded in blue fire. More hunters arrived. 4 of them, moving like phantoms, silent and merciless. They surrounded Vela and Reed. One raised a curved energy blade. We were born for this, he hissed. You are a lone hybrid. Vela didn't speak. Reed pulled out a pulse grenade. No, she's not. He tossed it. Light flooded the alley, but when the glow faded, the hunters were gone. Reed looked around. Where did they go? Vela's voice was calm, almost sad. They're not just killers. They're trained to make their prey afraid. First. Suddenly, one of the hunters dropped behind Reed. Blade aimed for his neck. But before it could strike, a wave of power exploded from Vela. Time slowed. The blade froze midair. The hunters floated upward, like caught in invisible water, and Vela walked forward, glowing, shaking, a storm in the shape of a girl. You want to erase me, she said, but I'm not the same Vela anymore. Her voice echoed in the alley, doubled, layered, one voice human, one not. I am not alien. I am not human. I am what you made me. She raised her hand, and the street shattered beneath them. The ground split like glass. The hunters fell, caught in a trap of light and gravity. They didn't move again. After the silence returned, Vela dropped to her knees. Her breath was heavy. Her body trembled. Her fingers sparked. Reed ran to her. "You're bleeding." She looked up, tears in her glowing eyes. "No. I'm breaking." The serum was changing her again. Every time she used it, it got stronger, wilder, deeper inside her. Reed put a hand on her back. "Then we find the scientist who made it," he said. "He must know how to stop it or control it." Vela nodded, but deep inside, she wasn't sure she wanted to control it anymore. Because the power didn't just make her strong, it made her feel alive, and that scared her more than anything. The rain fell hard. Dark clouds rolled over the Earth's skies as if the planet itself could feel the storm building inside Vela. She stood in the middle of a field once used for farming. Now it was just dirt and ash. Around her, the ground was cracked. The grass had died. The trees leaned away as if afraid. Her hands were glowing again, brighter than ever. Reed stood nearby, armor scorched, helmet off. His face was pale. He had seen power before, but never like this. "Vela," he said softly. "You need to stop. You're overloading." She didn't respond. Her eyes were open wide, glowing pure white. Her body was hovering 2 feet above the ground. Wind swirled around her, lifting dirt, leaves, and broken tech. "I can't," she whispered. "I don't know how to stop it anymore." The serum inside her wasn't just activating, it was evolving. And with each minute, it felt less like power and more like a separate mind inside her. Earlier that day, they had tracked down Dr. Enlow, the scientist who created the human combat serum. He lived off the grid, deep inside the northern mountains. A cabin full of old computers and broken lab tools. When he saw Vela, his eyes widened, not in fear, but awe. "It worked," he said. "I never thought it would, but it worked. You're still alive." Vela had stepped forward, arms shaking. "You made this? What is happening to me?" Dr. Enlow had looked away, guilt covering his face. The serum was meant to turn humans into living weapons. Perfect, fearless. But every subject lost their minds, their bodies burned from the inside out. "We failed." He paused. "But then, your DNA took it in, and the serum changed you. Now, it's rewriting your entire being." Reed had stepped between them. "How do we stop it?" Dr. Enlow shook his head. "You don't. She is no longer just Vela. She's becoming something else. The serum has intelligence, a will of its own." Now back in the field, Vela screamed. The ground split beneath her, a canyon opening with a loud crack. Lightning arced from her fingers, striking the sky. Birds dropped from the air. Machines nearby died instantly. "I'm losing myself," she cried. Reed ran toward her, shouting over the roaring wind, "You're not alone, I'm here, focus on my voice." But she couldn't hear him. All she could hear was the voice in her head, cold, commanding, inhuman. "Strength is not a curse. You were weak before. Now, you are divine. Let go of the fear. Let go of your name." "No," Vela screamed back. "I'm not your puppet." But even as she shouted, her hands moved on their own. Behind her, the remains of an old vehicle rose into the air, metal bending, reshaping. Without touching it, she was rebuilding it, turning it into a weapon. Reed tried to approach. Vela turned, suddenly, and a wall of force threw him 50 feet away. He crashed hard, blood ran down the side of his face. Still, he stood again. This time he walked, slowly, step by step, into the storm around her. "Vela," he said, coughing, "you're stronger than the voice. You're stronger than the serum." Her breathing was sharp, tears mixed with rain on her glowing face. "I don't want to hurt you," she whispered. "Then don't," Reed said. "Take control. You're not a monster. You're still Vela." She shook her head. "I don't know who that is anymore." Reed reached her, close enough now to touch her hand. His voice softened. "You're the girl who asked me of strawberries. We're meat." She blinked. You're the girl who got scared by a microwave beep. Who said Earth smells like soft socks and rain? That's who you are. The wind slowed. The glow dimmed just slightly. She looked at him. You remember that? I remember everything, Reed said, because I was watching you, not the power. For a moment, the white in her eyes faded. Her feet touched the ground again. The lightning stopped. Reed sighed in relief. But just then, the sky ripped open. A giant ship uncloaked above them. One of the largest ever seen. Its shadow covered half the valley. The logo of the Galactic Concorde glowed across the side. Dozens of smaller ships dropped from it, armed and ready. And then, a voice rang across the sky. By order of the Council, the being known as Vela is to be captured or destroyed. Earth's protection no longer applies. Reed looked up, eyes narrowing. They're not from her planet. They're from the Council. Vela's face went cold. They're scared of me. Reed turned to her. What are you going to do? She looked at her hands, then at him, and she whispered, I'm going to give them a reason to be. Above Earth, the sky was no longer blue. It was burning red. The Galactic Concorde's mothership, massive and blinding, hovered like a god above the world. Cities paused. Satellites blinked. Power grids flickered across the planet. This was not a warning. This was a judgment. On the ship's bridge, high-ranking alien commanders watched a glowing screen. Vela's face was on it, her eyes burning white, her skin lit with unnatural energy. She is the first true hybrid, one of them said. She is the future. And that is exactly why she must be stopped. Down below, in the broken valley, Vela stood in silence. The storm had passed. The air was still. But the energy inside her buzzed like lightning under skin. Reed was beside her, bleeding from the side of his head, yet standing tall. They're going to bomb this place, he said. They'll flatten it all, just to kill you. I know, Vela replied, calm. And you're going to stop them? She didn't answer. Instead, she began walking on slowly toward the sky, not flying. Walking. But with every step, the ground rose beneath her feet. Rocks floated. Earth cracked. The wind circled like a shield. The more she walked, the higher she went, as if the planet itself lifted her toward her enemies. In the mothership, alarm screamed. She's ascending, a pilot cried. She's rising toward us. The Grand Commander stepped forward. Deploy the Serum cannons. These were weapons that could melt planets. No living thing had ever stood after their fire. But Vela was not just living. She was becoming something more. High above the clouds, the cannons. Aimed at her, they charged. Bright golden light lit the sky. Reed shouted from below, Vela, don't! But Vela did not stop. The cannons fired. Two blazing columns of light, screaming through the air, loud enough to shake mountains. The beams struck her, and everything went white. For a few seconds, Earth held its breath. The clouds split. The mountaintops sizzled. The riverbed boiled. Reed fell to his knees, screaming her name into the burning sky. Vela! Then soon a pulse, a shockwave blasted outward from the point of impact. The mothership trembled. And then, from the center of the explosion, a figure floated out, unaffected, alive, untouched. It was Vela. But she didn't look like before. She was glowing brighter than ever. Her skin shimmered like starlight. Her feet didn't touch the ground. Her hair danced in slow motion, as if space itself moved with her, and her voice when she spoke was layered, both human and something far older. You treat me like a weapon. I will show you peace. On the bridge, panic erupted. Seraphim failed. She absorbed it. She's not breaking. She's evolving again. The Grand Commander stepped back. She's not a threat anymore, he whispered. She's a force. Vela raised both hands, but she didn't attack. Instead, she sent out a signal, a burst of energy that passed through every ship, every weapon, every machine in the fleet. And for a moment, Everything stopped. Engines shut down. Guns melted. Missiles refused to launch. The ships froze in the sky. All across the fleet, screens lit up with her voice. I don't want to destroy you, but I won't be erased. I was born alien. The serum made me part human. But what I've become belongs to neither. This is your last chance. Leave this planet or fall. On the ground, Reed looked up in disbelief. He had seen gods in stories. Now he was seeing one rise from a girl who once asked if strawberries were meat. And then, the first enemy ship turned, then another, then all of them. The Concorde fleet withdrew. No battle. No blood. Just a silent surrender to something they could not understand. But not all were ready to kneel. The Grand Commander, furious and humiliated, activated one final device. A hidden Omega core that would explode with enough force to destroy Earth. If I cannot win, he growled, then no one will. Inside the mothership, deep in the core, the countdown began. 9, 8. But before the number 7, the device vanished, literally disappeared, like it had been erased from reality. Everyone froze. On the screen, Vela appeared again, her eyes glowing like a supernova. I said no more death. And with that, the mothership itself began to disassemble, not explode, not crash, break apart, piece by piece, until it floated harmlessly in the sky, like dust in sunlight. Vela descended slowly, like a falling feather. Reed ran to catch her. She collapsed in his arms. Her skin was dim now, her glow fading. You saved the world, he said softly. She gave him a tired smile. I just didn't want to be alone. The world was calm again. Birds returned to the sky. The clouds opened. Across the cities, people looked up. Not in fear, but in wonder. The girl they thought was a threat had just saved the planet. But inside a cold, hidden bunker beneath Antarctica, the real danger stirred. Not in space. Not from the stars, but from Earth itself. In a deep underground lab, a man in a clean white coat stared at a blinking red light. Dr. Urek, the true creator of the human combat serum, not the one in the mountain cabin, but the one who kept the real secrets. He had been watching Vela since the day she arrived on Earth. He watched her change. He watched her grow stronger. And now, he watched her survive the Seraphim cannons. He whispered, she passed every hidden phase, even the final immune test. Behind him, in the shadows, a dark figure stepped forward. She's the first successful carrier, the figure said. Urek nodded slowly, and she has no idea that she is not the first one we tried it on. Back at a quiet recovery center in Greenland, Vela rested inside a clear medical chamber. Her glow had faded. She looked peaceful. But inside her mind, chaos, dreams, visions, screams, broken memories that didn't belong to her. She saw people, humans, in chains, needles in their arms, their bodies rejecting the serum, their hearts exploding, and a voice repeating, we must push further. The perfect body must exist. We will create a god. Vela woke up screaming. Reed was at her side instantly. You're safe, he said, holding her hand. You're okay. She sat up slowly, trembling. I saw things, Reed. Terrible things. People dying. Experiments. They tried this serum on humans before me. Reed's face turned hard. They told us it was a failed military test. One try. One formula. Vela shook her head. They lied. Later that night, Vela found an old terminal deep in the facility. She plugged her finger into the data port. Electricity danced through her skin. Within seconds, thousands of hidden files opened in her mind. Code, name, Project Ascend, status, discontinued by order of EarthGov, High Command, total test, subjects, 917 survivors, 0 subject, 918, active, Non-human DNA detected. Mutation stabilized her heart. Sank. I'm subject 918, she whispered. The only one that lived. The final file loaded. A video. Date stamped 5 years before she ever arrived on Earth. It showed a lab. A child, human. No more than 6 years old, strapped to a table, screaming. Doctors in black coats, injecting him with blue fire. Suddenly, silence. The child's body exploded. The screen went black. Vela fell back, gasping for air. Reed caught her. What did you see? They didn't stop, she said. They never stopped. And they didn't create the serum to win wars. She looked up. They created it to control evolution. Meanwhile, in Antarctica, Dr. Urek stood before a glass tank. Inside was a boy, still, silent, floating in blue liquid, alive, barely, but not human anymore. Subject 919. Eyes like silver, skin cracked with light. He will awaken soon, the dark figure said. And when he does, he will need her. Urek smiled. Then we shall bring them together. Let them finish what we started. The next day, Vela sat on the edge of a cliff, near the base, staring at the sky. I wasn't special, she said softly. I was an experiment. Reed sat beside her. That doesn't change what you did. I didn't save the world, she said. I barely stopped myself. I don't know what I am anymore. Reed looked at her, serious and quiet. You're the only person I know who could break a warship and still worry about who you are. Vela smiled a little. That's because I still feel like me, but I'm scared I'll wake up one day and then I won't. Reed leaned closer. Then I'll remind you. Every time. Suddenly an alarm rang in the base. Unknown ship approaching fast. Not alien. Not EarthGov. Something new. Vela stood up. She could feel it, a pull, like her blood was calling to something coming from the sky. The base radar showed a small vessel, silent, unmarked, flying like a ghost. Inside it, a single life form. Vela's voice cracked. He's here. Reed looked at her. Who? She closed her eyes and whispered, the next one. The wind was quiet, but Vela felt the storm before it arrived. She stood at the edge of the landing platform, eyes closed, her glowing hair caught in the breeze. Below her, soldiers gathered, scientists held their breath, and satellites aimed every camera at the sky. Something, someone, was coming, and he was just like her. Above them, the strange ship pierced the clouds, no lights, no flags, just silver metal and one life form inside. It didn't request permission to land, it simply descended. The air around it shimmered, gravity bent. When it touched the platform, the doors opened, but no one came out, not at first. Then, a boy stepped forward, no older than 15. His skin was pale, his veins glowed faint blue, his silver eyes held no fear, no anger, just silence. Vela's breath caught in her throat. She knew him, not from memory, but from the serum. They were connected. The boy walked straight toward her, not fast, not slow, like every step was chosen. Carefully, when he stopped just 5 feet away, neither of them spoke. Then, he tilted his head. You're 918, he said. I'm 919. His voice was soft, mechanical, but there was something behind it, a tiny flicker of a boy, trapped inside a weapon. Vela nodded slowly. I saw what they did to you. I saw what they did to all of us, he replied. But you lived. She took a step closer. So did you. Behind them, alarms were ready. Guns locked. If anything went wrong, the humans would fire. Reed stood nearby, hand on his weapon. But Vela raised one hand toward him and shook her head. No. This is between us. The boy looked up at the sky. I was kept in the dark, he said. Years. Frozen. Tested, upgraded. His voice cracked slightly. They gave me numbers, not names, but I remember one thing. He looked at Vela. A woman with glowing skin, reaching for me in a dream. Vela's heart trembled. I think I saw that dream too. And then, the boy's glow flared. The platform cracked beneath his feet. Power swirled around him, hot, unstable. The serum inside him was still wild. Still angry. He clutched his chest, falling to one knee. They said I would be their god, he whispered. Their weapon. Vela knelt beside him. But you're not. His eyes burned. I don't know who I am. Vela placed her hand on his shoulder. You are what you choose to be. Suddenly, the sky above ripped open again. A giant ship, black, silent, and uncloaked. EarthGov's hidden final failsafe. The command was simple. If 9119 awakens, destroy both hybrids. Reed shouted into the comms. They're just kids. Abort the strike. But the order had already been given. 6 plasma warheads launched from orbit. Vela stood tall. Her power returned. She looked at 919. We have to stop them. He looked up, scared. I don't know how. Yes, you do, she whispered. It's already inside you. Just follow me. They both rose into the sky, side by side. Not as weapons, not as monsters, but as something new. As the warheads approached, fire trailing behind, the air screamed. The ground forces ran for cover. Reed could only watch, heart racing. Up above, the 2 hybrids hovered like stars. Vela closed her eyes and reached out her hand and watched. Then did the same. Their palms glowed, and together, they caught the missiles mid-air. The blasts never came. The fire folded inward, absorbed like light into water. And when the smoke cleared, there was silence and awe. Back on the ground, the soldiers dropped their weapons. People stared at the sky, mouths open. Even EarthGov's warship slowly backed away, engines powering down. The planet had just witnessed something impossible. 2 broken creations choosing peace. Later that night, Vela and 919 stood on the same cliff where she once doubted herself. The stars were above them, the ocean far below. Think I understand now, he said quietly. What? Vela asked. We weren't made to be gods, he said. Or weapons. He turned to her. We were made to break the cycle. Vela smiled, tired but at peace. And now, he looked up. We teach them to never make another one of us again. Reed walked up behind them. They're calling you the guardians of 2 worlds. Vela rolled her eyes playfully. That sounds dramatic. Reed laughed. You just caught nuclear warheads mid-air. Dramas allowed. I looked curious. Guardians? Reed nodded. I protected humanity. You protected each other. That makes you more than a weapon. The boy looked at his hands. For the first time, they weren't glowing. They were just hands. And as the stars blinked above, and the earth slowly healed, the galaxy began to whisper. There were gods once made by man, but they chose to be human instead.